12 and a half, get you a quarterback. I got them shits flying like spirals. I like my truth uncensored.
That was a great segment as well. What else we got going on?
We got to talk about the Monique. Speaking on Steve Harvey.
Well, we all know Monique was legendary. Not legendary, but she was on Steve Harvey's show. Got a lot of views, got a lot of attention. We talked about it on this podcast. She had comments towards Steve Harvey and his latest release to NBC. Now, we talked about it a couple of days ago. Steve Harvey was released from his show Steve, and the show with the young children replaced out of his contract. Said it was a blessing in disguise. A lot of people got on him. We didn't get on him, but we did what we do. Mm-hmm. Monique has something to say. I want to drop a little bit of what she had to say, and then we'll talk about it, man.
Mm-hmm. I want to kick it off. Okay? And the reason why I want to kick it off is because some of the memes and tags I've been getting has been almost celebratory. Almost. Well, have been celebratory. When people say, that's what his ass get. Yeah, Mo. See, let me be clear about something. Let us be clear about something. We do not celebrate what appears to be someone else's demise. We do not stand and applaud and say, yeah, look what's happening. That's what you get. That's not where we're coming from. That's not the stance we've ever taken. So what I would ask y'all to do is we got to love our folks through it. We got to love them through it. And I know some people would say, here, Monique is crazy because 1 minute she's saying they didn't do it right, and the next minute she's saying love them through it. Let me tell you exactly what we're saying. Tell them, Steve Harvey, I've considered him my friend. Now, maybe he didn't consider me his friend, but I've always considered him my friend. And that's my friend. When we came out and said what was going on, it wasn't to put my friend down. It was to say, this is what it is. This is what's happening. And you've often referred to him as your brother. As my brother. When it comes to Brother Lee Daniels.
All right, God, I'm going to stop it right there. Talking about Steve Harvey, keeping it in the context. Basically off the sentiments that we kind of shared.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that, though?
I disagree.
Oh, shit.
With that. Remember on Boys in the Hood or whatever? Furious Styles, he had his son there. And he was like, man, only respect people, you know what I mean, if they respect you. Mm-hmm. So not to say that Steve really disrespected her, but that whole thing about, we gotta, not to say that anybody wants to celebrate what appears to be his demise, but I don't think that we have to run to everybody's aid either when they're going through something and give them and give them words of encouragement when they're going through what they're going through, especially if they wouldn't do it for you. I think those days, regardless of whatever, those days should be over. You know what I mean? So that's the part that I do disagree about, but I expect Monique to take the high road in that regard. But I just don't agree with that all the time, situations like that. Sometimes I think you just, some people go through stuff for a reason, and Steve may have been going through that for a reason. He says it's a blessing in disguise, but who wants to be kicked off their own show in prime time like that?
I would have to agree with that argument 100%. I would have to disagree with you when it came to the taking a high road, though. And even though, this was we watched a minute and a half. Her show was an hour. Okay. So we don't know how in depth she went and things like that. But with all that being said, on what we did here and her just saying that, she wasn't celebratory in it. I can hear where she's coming from, though. I know she was basically, in my view, saying that she didn't want to take anything away from his pockets, even though he might have been still on some fuck shit. Like, I never wanted to take away money from you, brother. I understand that you got to where you were doing what you had to do to get the amount of money that you're getting. And even though you dogged me out on your show, I still would not want to take money away from you. I'm not mad at that. That's something that I could see me doing, taking the high road, even though I'm still throwing jabs. I'm not mad at that. I 100% agree with you, though, in the frustration and always having to take the fucking high road.
Right.
Like, I understand that it's the moral thing to do, and it's not even ego involved. But like you said in the example that you gave, you got to respect somebody that respects you. Yeah. And when does it come to a certain point if somebody continues to spit in their face and you still extending your hand? Now, eventually, you either spit back or you pop them in the face with something to tell them to stop. Let them know it's over.
It's only so long somebody can continue to disrespect and, run you into the ground. If you say, no, I forget this, man, I got to stand up and do something. You know what I mean? So I'm not celebrating, Steve Harvey, losing his jobs and whatnot like that. But, I think some people get served up what they deserve. at certain times. You know what I mean? And it doesn't always pay, to shuck and jive. You know what I mean? In certain positions, and remember, because he was always telling her, like, sometimes you gotta do this to get this and to get that. And she said a lot of people was hitting her up like, that's what he get. I get it. Because a lot of black people feel like Steve Harvey didn't use his voice to project the right image of black people at certain times. He may have went on the buck dancing side of what people call it and whatnot. So people are going to love to see people like that, what appears to be them being moved out of certain positions when they use that position, in their opinion, not to further the cause. You know what I mean? You said, that he pretty much talked about Monique and countless other people. I don't really watch the show, but we've seen the clips and whatnot of Steve Harvey just kind of just taking, the other side of things that you make him look at him sideways. So yeah, definitely, man.
Okay, let me ask you this, man, because I mean, I guess the general thought and the general, I guess I've known the word I'm looking for, but is that he got kicked out. NBC fired him. Do you see a situation where he was like, nah, I don't like this, and I walked out? Do you see him with that kind of control? And we're all kind of just misleading and looking into things the wrong way. And this is kind of
quit. Maybe you think?
I'm just asking the question. Is it too far fetched to think that he said, you know what, I'm walking off of these shows, walking off of Steve? I mean, he looked like he was having a grand old fucking time.
Yeah,
on these shows.
Definitely. That's what I'm saying. But you never know what happens behind the scenes and whatnot, and the people you got to work with, the staff. So I don't want to get into the position. All I got to go off is what I seen with Steve. You know what I mean? I can't just go off assumptions and whatnot. I just kind of thought the guy, as time went on, kind of watered. Not to say that he was ever this guy like that we think, but I think he just kind of watered himself down to the point where he made himself acceptable, for mainstream audience. It's sort of like Kevin Hart. And I don't like that when people do that.
Whoa. So you comparing Steve Harvey to Kevin Hart right now?
No, I'm just saying
watering down. Comedy.
Right.
You know who I would compare Steve to?
Right.
Who's reminding me of? Our man Stephen A. And
yeah, damn.
Loved them both.
Right.
Love Steve Harvey, love Stephen A. And I still got so much of a high respect for Stephen A. I can still watch him on First Take and weed out the nonsense and listen to the brother speak. And I look up to him. I'm like, man, yeah. And we're what you do, I respect you on the highest regard. But there's a certain level of watering down that you just cannot deny over the years. We've watched you.
Yeah. And you read your writings. Yeah.
It's bothersome because we know, and I have the feeling behind the scenes, he's speaking the way we speak. He's still moving the way we move. But when he gets behind those doors, he has to just put it on so much and thinking that's the way, not thinking that Stephen A. Smith could be taken off that 10 o'clock slot too. And that's no disrespect. That's just the
they can find another brother somewhere out of college coming up who may not be quite him, but they will make him Steve. You know what I mean? They'll find a replacement, for anybody. Don't ever think that you're not expendable when you're working for these big corporations, man. And that's why we always just preach independence, even though we know sometimes you have to jump in and do little partnerships with people and different things, or to get your bag, like do a show. That's cool. If somebody said Fox or ABC wanted to make your thing a show, you're gonna go do that and get that money. You know what I mean? So I'm not knocking nobody from taking opportunities, but when it comes in where you have to take your message now and you get on camera, you say, look, well, I can't really say this because these people right here that's funding this don't want me to say it. Then you're back in a situation where, okay, now this is like a job again, or you know what I mean? The S word. But yeah, I
mean, and this is, we all know it's a certain level of struggle when you're doing this brick and mortar and you're building it by yourself and you're hand by hand, brick by brick. But there's no better reward than to get when you start receiving blessings from the hard work you put in on.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, there's a huge bag out here, but what does that bag come with? What's that price tag on that bag? And I would never give my soul for a bag. That will never be on the price ticket.
Right.
And not to say that people have sold their soul or anything, but there's even certain levels that I'm just like, nah, I'm cool. And I always want to be able to have that advantage, even though doing it brick and mortar may not take me to the level, even though I completely deny that because there's certain levels y'all ain't even ready for yet.
Right.
But I'd rather do it the hard way. If it took me longer, then fuck it, let it take us longer. But I'd rather receive it. And we've been on the other side, spent most of our life on the other side. And the taste it put in our mouths, it just wasn't for us. It's sweeter over here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's all I got.
Yeah, definitely, man. But yeah, man, you tuned into the Uncensored Truth Podcast with your brother, Oh God and Sandman, going in today. I want everybody to tune in tomorrow night. If you want to catch us live, we will be live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday, each and every Friday, on YouTube, on the Uncensored Truth Podcast channel. Make sure that y'all check us out there tomorrow night. I think that's all I have over here as well, Sandman. On this side, man, explosive show. Like I said, we'll be back.
My truth uncensored, my whole network viral. 12 and a half get you a quarterback. I got them shits flying like spirals. I like my truth uncensored, my whole network viral. 12 and a half get you a quarterback. I got them shits flying like spirals. You're now tuned into the greatest. Motherfucker, you ain't never lie. If them people watching us like YouTube, then tell them motherfuckers